And despite my title, Freak Out Tag, I promise you I am not freaking out. This will be a very quick and calm review. So let's get into it. Yes. Hello everyone, my name is Michelle, otherwise known as Book with Smitty. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today I will be talking with you about the books that I've read so far, the mid-year book Freak Out Tag. So as you know, I'm new to booktubing, and I was like, I don't know what video to do next. So I went on YouTube and just looked up other people's video, and I came across Book Nerd TV doing a mid-year book Freak Out Tag. So that inspired me to do my own mid-year book Freak Out Tag. I'm thinking that they call it the mid-year book Freak Out Tag because it's July and the year's almost over, and people start freaking out about the books that they have to read before the year is over. The way the mid-year book Freak Out Tag works is there are several questions that I am going to answer in relation to the books that I've read this year. So, question number 1. The best book you've read so far in 2021. So like I've said, that's a difficult feat to have the best book that I've read so far in 2021 because I've read 87 books so far this year. And out of the 87 books that I've read, 19 of them were 5-star books. So I had to sort of narrow it down. One of the best books I've read so far this year is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. It's about 4 high schoolers who were sent to detention, and while they were in detention, one of them ended up dead, and it's this sort of mystery to figure out who killed the person, and they have sorted past, and so each one is accusing the other, and so that's the premise. One of Us is Lying. The second best book I've read so far this year was Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. That is the prequel to The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. The Hate You Give was a 5-star book, but Concrete Rose was a perfect score 5-star book for me, and so that's why that's one of the 5-star. Sorry, that's why that's one of the 5 best books that I've read so far this year. The next best book I read was Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, in addition to Clap When You Land, which is also by Elizabeth Acevedo. Now, both of these books are sort of, it's a fiction book, but it's sort of written in a poetry kind of way, I should say, about the life of, well, the Poet X is written by one person, whereas Clap When You Land is written about 2 sisters who live in different parts of the world, and they find out about each other through a tragedy. So they both were books that I could not put down when I discovered those books. So not usually a type of book that I would read, so this is why it's one of those books that's a 5-star book, because it's not a book that I would normally read, and yet I could not put it down. Normally I like to read mystery books. And the last best book that I read so far this year was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, I read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That was a 5-star book. But Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was a little bit better than the Sorcerer's Stones, and it was actually just finished reading it a couple of days ago. Could not put it down. I read it very quickly. So yeah, those are the 5 books that I read so far in the year 2021. Question 2. What is the best sequel you read so far in 2021? All right, so having read so many books this year, this was also a challenge, but also it was a challenge because I like to read a lot of books that are in a series for me. And so the first, I had 3 groups of book series that I chose from. The first one was by Angie Thomas. That was The Hate You Give, along with Concrete Rose. And I believe that these are the only 2 books that she's written in this series. The next sequel is by Holly Jackson, and the first one in the sequel is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. The second one is Good Girl, Bad Blood, and the third one is As Good as Dead. I did not read As Good as Dead, but I have read the first two, and let me tell you, the mystery was amazing, and I love how the protagonist, well, it all starts off with in The Good Girls Guide to Murder, where the protagonist is a high school student, and for her senior project, she decides to try to solve a mystery in her town. That's Good Girls Guide to Murder. And in the sequel, Good Girl, Bad Blood, because she has this reputation of solving mysteries, one of her good friends, I believe her brother goes missing, and the good friend asks her to help her find out what happened to her brother. And yeah, so because I love mystery and the way the book is written, I mean, they have like maps and charts and everything in the book to help you if you want to be the one to solve the murder or the mystery, you can solve the mystery. And the last one is the Harry Potter series with the Sorcerer's Stones and the Chamber of Secrets. The only two that I reread so far. So question 3 is, what is a new release you haven't read yet but you want to read? So that would be Legendborn by Tracy Dion. So this book didn't come out this year. This book came out sometime last year. I want to say the end of 2020. But yeah, I am excited about reading this book. So question number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I don't really think in advance. I have a hard time just focusing on what I'm doing right here. I have so many books on my TBR shelf, so I'm not even anticipating any release for the second half of the year. I don't even know about any books just coming out in the second half of the year. So question number 5, the biggest disappointment. So that would be The Throne of Glass. I mean, listen to me, don't hate me. So I know there's a lot of Sarah J. Maas fans out there and a lot of people that love Throne of Glass. I'm not saying that I hate The Throne of Glass. I'm just saying I had to DNF it for the moment because I just could not get with it. My brain was like overload, and I don't know if it was the wrong time for me to read it. Nevertheless, what I did do was I read The Assassin Blade. I read that The Assassin Blade, because it's built on like 4 or 5 novellas, so it's broken up, you get a little bit more in depth of the characters. And so now that I've read The Assassin Blade, which I rated a 4-star, by the way, I feel like I could go back to The Throne of Glass and I could read it. But it was a disappointment for me because everybody hyped up The Throne of Glass series and Sarah J. Maas, so I was like all here for it. I was all ready to read it, and when I started reading it, I was like, what is happening here? I just could not get with it. And so I have not DNF'd it forever. I will come back to it now that I've read The Assassin Blade. It's a series that I'm looking forward to coming back to read. And hopefully, because now I do have a better understanding of the characters and what's going on in the book, it won't be a disappointment at the end of the year. Number 6, biggest surprise. That would be Homefront by Kristen Hanna. So, I'm in this book club, 52 Book Club, and the premise is you read 52 books in 52 weeks. And the members, the creators of the 52 Book Club, they come up with a whole bunch of prompts. And one of the prompts is you have to read a book by Kristen Hanna. And everybody in the Facebook group, now there's a Goodreads group and a Facebook group. I will put the link below. Everybody in the Facebook group was talking about how Kristen Hanna writes these depressing books. And look, my life is already so complicated. I don't need to read any depressing books. I read to escape, and so I like fun and adventure. But I needed to fulfill this prompt, so I had to read a Kristen Hanna book. And during my research, yes, I love to research, I chose Homefront, which was supposed to be not that many pages, because some of her books can be very thick, and sort of lighthearted. And it did not disappoint. One of my biggest surprises. I rated this book 4 stars. I mean, yeah, it was just that good. I actually listened to the audiobook, which is, let me tell you, if you want to read Homefront, get the audiobook because the narrator, does the characters in such a way that kept me interested. Like I'm telling you, like there's two daughters, and one is a preteen and a moody preteen, and the narrator has got the moody preteen like down pat. That's what really kept me engaged in the book. The story, yes, it's sad and it's a little depressing, but I think because I had my brain like set up for this type of story, I wasn't like crying sad. It was like I really got what was going on. It's about a husband and wife and the difficulties that they're having in their marriage. But then in mid story, the mother goes off to war. She gets deployed back in the war and is left behind a family who is sort of broken and a teenager who's moody and is it was my biggest surprise. Like I keep even in the Facebook chat, keep recommending. Look, Homefront is a book. If you're gonna read Kristen Hanna, read Homefront or listen to the audiobook. I would choose to listen to the audiobook. Number 7, favorite new author, debut or new to you. So with my disappointment with Sarah J. Maas and me trying to be avid fantasy reader, people suggested that I read Brandon Sanderson. So I started with The Rhythmatist, which I absolutely love and rated that 5-star. Then I read Warbreaker, which was a little bit more challenging to get into, but eventually I got into it. And I think I rated that 4-star. But those are both standalone books, and I love books that are in a series. So the next books I'm going to try by Brandon Sanderson is the Mistborn series. So I have the Mistborn and then the Well of Ascension. Now there's other books in the Mistborn series, but I don't have those yet. But I also have, I believe, Skyward is a standalone. I might be wrong about that, but this is not in the Mistborn series. So yeah, as you can see, Brandon Sanderson is somebody who right at this moment has become my favorite new author to me. He's debuted to me. One thing I'm learning as a reader is that the book might not be right for you at the moment, but you could come back to it 6 months later and the book might be right for you. So when I DNF a book, it is not the final. Most of the time I have the intention of coming back and trying it a second go round because maybe I'm not in the right headspace for it. And what book works for you may not be for me. So with that said, question number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't even, that's a question. Question number 9, newest favorite character. I'm that type of person, like, if there was a celebrity in the same room, I would not be like, ow! I would not freak out. I would just be like, yo, hey, what's up? Because they were like a regular person. So, with that said, I don't have a new favorite character. I don't even have a favorite character. Question 10, the book that made you cry. So, I wouldn't say necessarily cry, but I will say emotional, and that would be The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So this book focuses on police brutality with African Americans, and so that should be enough as to why this book was very emotional. And I even hate the statement given the current climate, because this is not a climate that just happened upon in 2021 or even 2020. This goes far back and it's just never seen. This goes far back and it's never ending. And Angie Thomas painted a picture that was so clear to the point that I felt like I was in the scene of these characters. So yeah, it was very emotional for me. It's just an emotional book. So if you haven't read it, I suggest you read it, and Concrete Rose, because they're both excellent books. All right, question number 11 is, what is a book that makes you happy? And that will be Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. So this debut author, B.B. Alston, does an amazing job at developing a world and then also developing the characters in this book, particularly Amari, the protagonist in this story. There's nothing wrong with where you came from. So Amari and her brother are being raised right now in the low-income housing projects. Shout out to all of us that grew up in the low income housing projects. Yep, that was me. Mari, like, she just is very resilient. She perseveres through it all, despite the challenges. The challenges is what keep her going. And yes, this is a fictional story, but you still can get a real message from it. And so kids today can see, look, I can be something great. It doesn't matter where I live, where I've come from, where I've been. It always matters. It only matters where you're going. So yeah, for me, this book makes me absolutely happy. So with that said, question number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book you bought this year? And I am a very visual person. And so with that said, when I choose books, I first choose books based on how they look. And then I read the blurb and decide if I want to buy the book. So I have 3 books that are the most beautiful books this year that I bought this year. Amari and the Night Brothers. I've said it before how gorgeous this cover is. Her hair is so fabulous. Like, I would love to have hair like this. I just noticed that they're both blue. So Legend Born by Tracy Dion. Look, the artwork is stunning. Her hair is stunning also. Just everything about this cover is stunning. And lastly, this is a book that I'm currently reading right now, Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. Stunning. I love the gold. I love the young lady's hair. So these covers are beautiful in its own right, but beautiful to see, characters, fictional characters that look like me, whose skin complexion are like mine, and their covers are gorgeous. And so, yeah, so those are 3 of the most beautiful books that I bought this year. And with that said, that is the end of my mid-year freakout tag. And like I said, I did not freak out. It was a very calm discussion about the books that I've read so far in the year 2021. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you again. Have a blessed day.